Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and this right here is the 12-hour Bitcoin chart, and we have just seen the parabolic stopper inverse indicator flip into the red. Technically speaking, this is a short-term bearish signal, but we also need to pay attention to the 12-hour Bitcoin RSI and the 12-hour Bitcoin MACD, because if you're looking at the parabolic stopper inverse indicator by itself, sometimes we do have some false signals here and there. So in order to confirm this bearish signal in this indicator, personally, I look for bearish confirmation in the RSI and the MACD, such as a downtrend in the RSI or a bearish cross in the MACD. And right now, at the time of recording this video, we are getting very close to a 12-hour bearish cross in the MACD. But I want to make it clear that we have not confirmed the bearish cross just yet. And for that, we need to see at least a 12-hour candle close after the bearish cross in order to confirm a 12-hour bearish cross in the Bitcoin MACD. And if you're looking at the 12-hour Bitcoin RSI, we're currently cooling off towards neutral values, which obviously for those of you that have been keeping up with my recent Bitcoin update videos, this has been something that I've been talking about over the past 3 to 4 days. Basically saying back here when the RSI was in overbought territories on this 12-hour time frame that Bitcoin is actually due for a bit of a short-term cool-off, which either means some sideways price action or a slight pullback in the Bitcoin price, which is pretty much exactly what has played out over the past 2 days or so. But if you're looking at the price trend itself on the 12-hour Bitcoin chart, we're still clearly in an uptrend, forming higher lows and higher highs. So as I said, some of these bearish signals that we are potentially seeing on the 12-hour Bitcoin chart are only signals for the shorter term, talking about day-to-day price action, because also, like I just said, the larger trend on the 12-hour chart is still clearly a bullish trend. And heading over to the daily Bitcoin chart, we still have the 50% level coming in at just underneath 48,000, which is acting as our immediate point of resistance for the Bitcoin price, and anything above 48,000, I'll be looking towards the golden pocket at around 52,000 to 53,000. And for any of the beginners out there, while the Bitcoin price is technically still in an uptrend, these points of resistance basically act as stopping points along the way, where it's actually very normal for Bitcoin to play out a bit of a pullback or a bit of a short-term cool-off of some sort around these points of resistance, especially if the RSI is getting close to overbought territories, as we were a few days ago over here on the daily Bitcoin chart. So it is definitely great to see this short-term cool-off with the RSI coming back down towards neutral values, because when that happens, that basically gives us more room to the upside later on. And one of the most important levels of support for Bitcoin is coming in at around 45,000 US dollars per Bitcoin. And if you're going off the tops of these previous weeks, then that's closer towards 46,000. So around 45k to 46k is a price range where Bitcoin must stay above in order to remain more bullish here on the daily charts. Because as I've said over the past few days, for as long as Bitcoin is above 45k, we're still looking really bullish here on the daily time frame. And it is only if the Bitcoin price breaks back below 45k, that is when we might need to reassess the situation, because obviously that would be a bearish signal on the daily time frame, but as of right now, we have not seen that. So this still remains as just a short-term cool-off in this bullish trend at the time of recording this video. And for those of you that might be new to the channel, the technical price target for this ascending triangle pattern is coming in at around $58,000 per Bitcoin. But even though that is a technical price target, keep in mind we still have these other points of resistance in between the current price and that Bitcoin price target. And just giving you a really quick update on the percentage of Bitcoin short positions on the Binance exchange and the Bybit exchange. And what we have seen over the past couple of days is a slight decrease in the short positions on these two major exchanges. But relatively speaking, we still have a lot of short positions currently active in the market according to history, which technically speaking is more bullish than bearish if you're looking at all of these other times where we've seen a lot of short positions in the market, because pretty much every single time where we see a lot of short positions in the market, more bullish price action is only just around the corner. But keep in mind, this is talking about the larger bullish moves instead of just the day-to-day Bitcoin price action. So this is really looking at perhaps a few months from now. And just taking a quick look at the Bitcoin order books across all of these exchanges, and what we're seeing right now, first of all, in the sell orders is 3 separate sell wars. First of all, coming in at around 47.6k, and then one coming in at around 48,000, and then another sell wall coming in at around 48.4k. So at those price levels just there, we could be expecting a bit of short-term resistance at the very least, because for any of the beginners out there, in order for the Bitcoin price to go above those price levels, we essentially need a bunch of buyers to come in and buy up all of those sell orders that are placed at those prices before the Bitcoin price can start trending higher. And looking in the buy orders, we have a fairly even distribution of buy orders all the way down towards around 44,000, where we see a massive increase in buy orders that is constantly increasing as we go lower, which basically means there is a lot of support, a lot of buying interest coming in at just underneath 44,000 all the way down towards the low 40,000s. So even if the Bitcoin Bitcoin price goes that low, we should be expecting a decent amount of support at those lower $40,000 prices. But obviously, just because we have a lot of buy orders placed at those prices, that does not mean we're definitely going to those prices, so just keep that in mind. And if you're zooming out to the 3-day Bitcoin chart, both the RSI and the MACD look more bullish than bearish, other than the fact that the 3-day Bitcoin RSI is currently running into a very important point of resistance that originated at the beginning of last year. So it is definitely important for the 3-day Bitcoin RSI to break above this line of resistance so that we can avoid another possible scenario like what we saw back here or back here, for example. But we do have a few key differences between what we're seeing right now and what we saw towards the all-time high when the RSI was testing this point of resistance. One of the biggest differences between what we're seeing right now and what we saw just a few months ago when Bitcoin was topping out is if you're looking at the 3-day Bitcoin RSI back then, the RSI was basically at overbought territories compared to right now where it's much closer towards neutral values, giving us more room to the upside. And also, if you're looking at the January bottom in the Bitcoin price and the corresponding Bitcoin RSI on the 3-day chart, that was the first time that the 3-day Bitcoin RSI entered into oversold territories since the March 2020 crash. And this is something that we didn't even see during the middle of last year. And on top of that, if you're looking at the 3-day Bitcoin MACD, it is still continuing to gain more and more bullish momentum if you're looking in the histogram in particular, which is obviously bullish for Bitcoin on the larger timeframes here, talking about these larger moves in the market. And something else that has really helped the bullish momentum increase for Bitcoin over the past 2 weeks has been the stock market entering a pretty decent recovery over the past couple weeks. This chart right here is the S&P 500 index on the daily time frame, and currently we're above the golden pocket, which is a very important level. And if you're looking at the middle of the golden pocket, that's coming in at around 45.50 approximately. But if you're talking about the more shorter term, the day-to-day price action in the stock market, I've mentioned over the past couple of days that we actually have a gap in the value of the S&P 500 index that we saw just a few days ago. And when you're talking about the stock market, we almost always see these gaps get filled, which is why I have been mentioning over the past couple of days that we're likely to see a bit of a pullback in the S&P 500 index in the shorter term to potentially fill that gap that we created a few days ago with a possible retest of this golden pocket. And what we saw yesterday and what we've seen today so far is a slight pullback in the S&P 500 index, which, as I just said, if you've been watching my recent Bitcoin update videos over the past few days, this was to be expected. And considering the fact that the stock market and the Bitcoin price is correlated a lot of the time, a short-term pullback in the stock market is one of the reasons why we could be seeing just a short-term pullback in the Bitcoin price. But once again, if you're looking at the larger trend here, the stock market is looking more bullish than bearish because we are still forming higher lows and higher highs. And so it's only if the stock market sees a further pullback below some of these important levels and starts forming lower lows and lower highs, in a scenario like that, we'll need to reassess the situation. But obviously, because that is not the case right now, technically we are still looking more bullish than bearish on the larger trend here. And if you want to get more updates throughout the day on what's happening with Bitcoin, definitely make sure to follow me over on my Twitter. And you can find a link to my official Twitter in the description down below and also in the pinned comment. But anyway, if you found this video useful or simply enjoyed it, please make sure to leave a like down below. And if you're new to the channel, you might as well subscribe with notifications turned on for more updates just like this every single day. And also, if you want to continue to make more money in crypto, even if prices are going down, then these 2 videos popping up right here on your screen are definitely for you to watch. But anyway, that is it for this update. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.